What's up, guys? So more FTR mods. I've had this for a while. I was waiting on some other stuff to come in. I wish I would have did it with my quick shifter, but it is what it is. We are going with a shift light. This particular one is from Raptor Performance, in conjunction with Jack Canberra. He has an Instagram. I'll put it in the link below. But currently, he has the world's quickest naturally aspirated Scout. I think he was 9.98 was the fastest he did in the quarter mile. Anyway, he asked me and a couple other guys to help him design this kit, which is a plug and play, so you don't have to actually splice any wires. What I was waiting for was this set of JST connectors. They did have a different connector on there. This connector does get used on the FTR in some different places, but the one we really wanted was this 2-pin connector. So what we're going to do is, as you know, all FTRs have a 12-volt switch power source underneath the headlight. It's for your heated grips. If you're installing one of these shift lights, chances are you don't have heated grips, so you just tap right into that. This is for a launch control light. I'm not going to play with that, so I think we just ground that out. But this will just splice right into one of the coils, and then this comes with this mount, or this mount. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick it up here and kind of get it in my face here. You can also tap a little hole here in your bar and put it down there. I think I'm going to stick it right up here. But it comes with all the instructions, pretty much plug and play, except for that. I will put a link in the description for this connector set. I think it's 20 bucks. Since pretty much all the connections on the FTR use this type of style connector, it's a good thing to have, especially if you want to put install turn signals and all that stuff. You don't have to splice in your old harness. You can just put new connectors on it. I'm not going to get too involved in disassembling this. What I'll do is I'll put another link in the description where I installed the quick shifter, so showing how to get to this and how to get to your coils. So we're going to strip this and get to the point where we can start installing this. Alright, so not to brag or anything, it took me 10 minutes to get to this point. These FTRs are stupid easy to take apart. So you don't have to take the tank completely off, because I don't want to deal with all this wiring, which again it's in the video in the description from the quick shifter. So this is the coil we're going to tap into, and then up front every FTR has this, so it's normally taped right there. This is a 12-volt accessory plug, so just put that tape back, and then it has a little blanking cap on it, so pull that off, and this, so we're going to plug this into. You see, I'm just going to go in just like that. And obviously we'll take this cable. I gotta figure out exactly how I want to run it down here. I'll probably snake it through the frame there and come back here. And then what I think I'm going to do for the actual coil mount is run it kind of back here or down below. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in after the actual Translogic coil. So let's get that in, and then we'll try to get these wires ran around, and then we'll put the tank back on. Alright, so I didn't want to remove the airbox and go through all that. So what I did was ran the wires up to here. It should be cleared. Obviously they're zip tied down here. Came around here, mounted the tack, so then I can the light, so I can kind of move it how I want to with nice 3M tape. There is a good bit of wire here, so all I'm just going to do is just coil that up and then zip tie back behind the headlight there. As far as back in here, what I did was I just electrical taped it all. Here is the shifting harness, and then obviously back there is the Translogic, and then this is the OEM plug right here. So in the grand scheme of things, this should theoretically all kind of tuck up in here nice and neat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my side panel back on here, zip tie this rat's nest all nice and tight. It does say to ground this if you don't want to use the launch RPM. I'm going to see if it really needs to be grounded. If it does, what I'll do is I'll just take one of these bolts out here and then put a little ring terminal on there and just ground it out to the frame, because I don't intend on using that. So let's get all this wrapped up. Down here, basically under special instructions, if it's only reading off one coil, you just select one cylinder. So it only just goes one coil, so it just selects one cylinder. So power back on, And then you, again, so you can scroll through this, launch RPM, sensitivity, number of cylinders, we got 1. And then I have it set for 2000 RPM for the light to turn on. And we're back normal. So, start her up. Power's up. We're going to rev the 2. And it lights up. And obviously it shows your RPM down here as well. So while I was doing that, I disconnected this wire from ground, and this still works. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to terminate this wire. I did message him to verify, but it seems to be working normally. So obviously I'm going to set the shift RPM. The red line's at 9,000. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the shift RPM a little before that, because this will hits your rev limiter or fuel cut and kind of just dies over as soon as you hit it. So I kind of want to see the light and shift right before that happens. So I'm just going to go on up, and if you just hold the button, obviously it moves fast. So this will actually go up to 20,000 RPMs. That's not going to happen here. So we'll do 8,800 RPMs. Well, now we're set. So I'm just going to rotate that around like that, and then we have ourselves a nifty little shift light. So I'm going to work on funneling all this back up. I'm going to cut, heat shrink, and terminate this wire back here. That way if I do need to tap into it, or if I ever want to use a shift RPM, I can. And then we're going to hope that all this stuff kind of just tucks in here like this, and I'm able to put my seat on. Everything fits, so I kind of mocked up how this is going to sit. These are nice and loose there. I have some black plastic wire loom. What I'll do is I'll just run it along this so you can't see that. Everything fits under here. Obviously this coil is sitting up here, so I'll zip tie this up a little bit better. I'm not a huge fan of this rat's nest area here, but when this bike's out sitting, it's on the kickstand this way, so it'll be leaning over, so most people will never even notice that. And I'm still able to stick my translock shifter up there. Then everything's going to move up here. There's plenty of slack in this wire here. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. It's pretty good. And then we'll reconnect this and bolt all that back up, and we're done. So start to finish, that took me around an hour, maybe a little bit less. Super easy install. I did take a zip tie and kind of zip tied this up a little bit more. Kind of push that in. Obviously you want all these wires loose, because if they're tight, that means they're pinched on something and it'll eventually rub through. So I did take that white wire and kind of tucked it up under here. If I ever do want to add the launch feature, launch RPM feature, all I have to do is just ground out that wire and then turn on the setting. These little caps, you can get a bunch of different colors from Rapid Performance. If you have the cap off, it's just a really bright red light, but I'm keep this on here to keep some water out of there. And I did tied all this up in here nicely. Like I said, I'll get some spiral wrap and spiral wrap this so you won't be able to actually see that. Again, loose wires, nothing's binding under here, so you can easily just run that right through. And then I had everything nicely tucked all up in there. Everything fits nicely back there. No binding. Nice, quick, simple, easy install. So let's go take it for a rip down a little private industrial road and see if she comes on at 8,500 RPMs like it's supposed to. And the quick shifter, see if I can do all that before hitting rev limiter, and everything should just be bang, bang, bang. So let's take her out. Kind of strange, it's only kicking on in first gear. So let's see. Let's pull down the RPM. Maybe it has something to do with vibrations. So I'll make sure that it comes on at 6. All in the name of science. Alright, so it worked there at 6. So maybe it was just too close to the red line. So let's set it for 8. Go to 8,000. I mean, by the time I was shifting with the quick shifter, it was already getting close to red line by the time I was watching the light. Let's see what that does. Alright, we're going to call that a success. So I played with a little bit more. I actually raised it to 8,300 RPM. So I do think that I was too close to the red line with this. I could do some more experimentation with 100 RPMs up or down. Maybe I'll do that when I ride it more. I just didn't want to keep ripping up and down that road playing with it. But during the daylight, this is a little bit difficult to see with the sun at your back. Obviously, take the cap off and slap brighter, and then just keep the cap on for most of the time. I talked to Jack. If you want to order one of these, you'll contact him. Again, I'll put his Instagram handle in down below in the description. For the one version, it's $200. I think that's the version that has the launch RPM. The other version is $190. So either way, $190, $200 for this plug-and-play kit. You really can't ask for much more. It takes about an hour to install. Looks kind of racy. So if you're out drag racing or even on the track with these things, especially if you're a base model owner, because the base models, as you know, don't have a tack on them. I mean, they have a digital readout, but the digital readout you can't really see. So this would be a big game changer for those of the base models that are constantly hitting your rev limiter. But got any questions? Feel free to ask me. Thanks for watching, guys.